In The Divine Conspiracy, Dallas Willard frankly tells us that we seriously haven't attempted what Jesus taught us to do. And he says that apparently we don't even know how to do it. When I face these really raw and honest words about the state of the church and faith in America today, I realize that Willard's first of all talking about me and my own struggle to be an apprentice of Christ and to follow Jesus with all of my heart, all of my soul, all my mind, and all of my strength. And all of my training and ministry to be a worship leader and also spiritual director, all my academic studies, I am still working to figure out how to put my faith into daily practice. So this School of Prayer is something that I have created, not because I'm some sort of master at figuring this all out, but I've put it together because I am honestly desperate to figure out with you and others how to do this in a very real and practical and tangible way. So it's an 8-month journey where we are studying, reading, discussing, and doing spiritual practices so that we can each finish at the end of the 8 months with a more clear and whole sense of what we are each called to in our own prayer and our own daily practice. So for the first 4 months, we practice the same rule of life. We'll be reading a book by James Martin, The Jesuit Guide to Almost Everything, and then we read Father Martin Laird's book, Entering the Silent Land. And during that time, we are writing and rewriting, praying and discussing through our own spiritual practices, our own sense of what we feel called to. And then in that January mark, when we move into the second half of our 8-month journey, we'll be freed to practice our own respective rules of life. But we get to have the gift of continuing to do that in community. Most of the gains that I have experienced in my growth in grace and in mercy do not come when I am alone in solitude. It comes when I am practicing and failing at my spiritual practices and then confessing my weaknesses and then learning from my failures. And that happens only in community. So during this time of quarantine and COVID, it's really hard for most of us to understand how to do anything more. Sometimes it's just a gift to be able to get out of bed and make sure that we're eating and that we're getting our kids off to do something creative where they're not burning the house down. So this is not an invitation for those who are exhausted. This is more of an invitation during this time of quarantine for those who know that they need the structure. They need the companionship. They need the community so that we can try to make sense of how to follow God during this time of bewilderment and suffering. So if you have an interest in being a part of the School of Prayer, this is my second year of going through it. I'm going to try to facilitate this in distance learning format so you don't have to be in Michigan in order to participate. Simply send me an email, josh@invitationpodcast.org. Express something about your interest and we'll enter into a conversation. I'm looking for at least 6 people and no more than 12, and that's per cohort. If we have enough people in West Michigan who are interested, we might have 2 cohorts. One here in Holland in this space where I'm sitting now, and then another cohort would be meeting at Mars Hill Bible Church in Granville. So there's lots of questions and still how to do this. Lots of questions just like we're trying to figure out what it means for our kids to go back to school. I don't have it all figured out. What I'm interested in doing right now is finding people who have a desire and an intent to give this next 8 months a more intentional and a more deliberate offering that we can offer ourselves as living sacrifices to Jesus. Thank you for considering this. I hope you're well. Be blessed. Amen.